All right, awesome. Well, welcome to what might be the first ever Awakening Dynamics Town Hall. Yay. And I wanted to just talk to everyone about what's going on to avoid rumors and all that, and let you know what's been happening, but with a much bigger focus on where we are now and where I want to go in the future. And so, and after that, happy to take questions and, you know, suggestions. So, if you had asked me a few years ago, I would have sworn that I'd be pretty much teaching and practicing some version of this until I retired. But there's that old saying that goes something like this: How do you make God laugh? You tell him your plans, right? Certainly when I was 25, 26, I would have sworn I was going to be a software engineer my whole life. It's the only thing that made sense, right? It's like I spent all these years in school, degrees, money, time, blah, blah, blah. But due to a lot of different factors, I'm sure those of you that are active have noticed the class sizes have plummeted. And this is not like a 20 or 30% decline that most people would call a rough patch. It's like a 90% decline. That for a whole lot of reasons I don't want to spend time getting into unless you guys ask. Um, Part of it is the big change post-COVID, that the entire industry is very much down right now. That it's not just Brent, it's everyone I know doing this kind of thing, except for people who have a really good social media presence or a really powerful niche or a feeder. Lots of healers and coaches are really struggling. Class sizes are smaller, calendars are opening up, and I think a lot of that is coming off of COVID. That a couple of things happened. One, people were stuck at home with tons of time and a little bit of free money. So obviously things are different now. One of the downsides to that is during COVID, everyone and their monkey decided they wanted to work at home and to be either a life coach or a healer or a financial analyst or sell MLM products or something, right? So the market has gotten massively oversaturated. And that always ends up in a race to the bottom. Of course, inflation has something to do with it. We're all getting killed by the cost of living. Utilities are way more expensive. Insurance has skyrocketed. Car repairs, hotels. It's nuts that I just went to LA with my son. We paid over $200 to stay in a moldy, rat-infested Comfort Inn in Glendale. And it was horrific. And it's just like, oh my God, right? There's also the corruption of the wellness industry, which I think is a factor. Because I love the wellness and the wellness people so much for a long time because we were all about wellness and helping each other. And now, let's just say it's not all about that. And I think that's a huge thing. And another factor I think is it's hard to overstate is the loss of Steve Rizzo. As I think it was Melvin that called him the Prince of Awakening Dynamics. And it's one of those things you don't realize how much someone was doing for the community and so on until they're gone. And so not having Steve there, giving amazing testimonials, referring people has been really hard. It's really compounded all these other things. Part of it is the decline of KPFK and WBAI that, again, COVID, that I had champions there, producers for a long time, 20 years. And so a lot of you guys first heard of me on KPFK or WBAI, right? I would guess half the group or more. And I don't want to gossip about what was going on, but like many radio stations, they got hammered during COVID because they made their money selling and fundraising on the afternoon drive. And then COVID, a lot of people didn't have a morning or an afternoon drive. So a lot of radio stations got killed, and they laid off a huge proportion of their staff, including, in a brilliant move, all the people that raised money for the station. So you got to call that a brilliant business move, right? It's like, oh, we got to cut head count, got to cut expenses. Let's get rid of all the people that bring in money. So that was unfortunate. So my champions are no longer there. So I'm not getting the exposure, the interviews. I'm not able to raise money for them anymore. Anyhow, so all these things put together, the change in media, that I've done well with traditional media when I can get it. But, for whatever reason, social media has eluded me. I had my YouTube channel for over 3 years, And, you guys and maybe 4 other people watch it. That's about it. I had 3 different projects over the last 2 years on TikTok channels. And the last one we posted every day for almost 8 weeks. And I had 4 followers, and one was my wife and one was my son. So I had 2. So anyhow, none of that's worked out. I've tried a whole bunch of different publicists, but I've also seen that there's a change in what people want. One, attention spans are shorter, even than they were 5 years ago. And it seems a lot of people just see it as too much work to sit through a weekend training, which seems kind of crazy to me. I love learning, right? When I was taking these classes 20 years ago, I couldn't wait. Yes, that there was a rigor to it, and yeah, you'd be tired at the end of the day. But I loved the learning and the practice and meeting people and the new ideas, right? But now it's like, oh my God, you want me to pay attention for something for more than 3 minutes? I can't do that, right? And unfortunately, I don't know how to teach healing in 3 minutes. So if any of you guys can do, let me know. So that's kind of the past. And really I've been looking for other sources of income. Had a foray into executive coaching. That didn't go well. Had a foray into getting a tech job, and I was approved and interviewed and hired, and all was going great. And then it didn't really turn out to be a scam. It just turned out not to be close to what you were sold, right? So that's not going well. And I think one of the biggest mistakes we all make in business, especially small business owners, is to be over reliant on one stream of income. And so, that's the big mistake I've made for 20 years. This has been my stream of income. So I'm looking at doing other things part-time. And, don't worry, I'm not giving up on Awakening Dynamics. It's just until something changes, until it's getting traction, I can't afford to be giving it my full-time focus is all. I got to take some of those hours and actually make money to pay the bills. So that's plenty on the past. Now let's talk about the present and the future. So the one of the things I wanted to say thank you to everyone who filled out the survey. We did that, like a month ago when we had the music event. I read every single response, and that definitely had some weight in deciding how to move forward. And sort of the things I got from the survey, as well as conversations with marketers and so on, is the people were very clear. They want things that are more affordable, and they want things that are more flexible in terms of time and schedule. And so what I've created in the new plan, I think provides that. There's always a cost to it, right? And it can't have everything. And another thing that I wanted to change was to make it repeatable. That one of the kind of downsides to the old way of Awakening Dynamics 1 to 5 was everyone thought, oh, once I've gone through once, I'm pretty much done. And that's really not correct, but that was how it was taken. And I think people, by doing it just that way, there's a lot of value missed out, and it's a really bad business model. When I look at something like Carl Wolf's classes, every time he announced something, a whole bunch of people signed up. And a lot of the time, he didn't even write about what it was. He'd just be like, okay, I'm doing a 4-hour online program Saturday. Cost X dollars. People would sign up. They were the same group of people that showed up at his weekend intensives at Wednesday night, over and over and over. And so I wanted to create something that was less intellectually rigorous, because it's unless you love learning, I love learning. I'm a huge nerd. It's too much work nowadays for many people to be spending all day learning a bunch of concepts and learning to apply them. That's hard work. So what I wanted to create moving forward was 2 paths. One would be for more casual students and clients, those that aren't particularly interested in being a healer, where this can be an important part of their life, but it's not their focus. Their focus is their company or their career, things like that. And because what I saw was with Carl, that was a lot of the people that followed him. Most of them had no interest in learning to facilitate movement. Carl had no teacher program, right? I just did all of his stuff for years and years. And one day he's like, Brent, you can teach this. And I'm like, sweet, gave him a high five. That was it, right? Didn't cost anything, just years and years. Well, it cost like $100,000 to get there, right? But nothing marginal for the teacher part. And so basically moving forward, what we're planning on doing, and with the caveat, this could all change. If I get on coast to coast, then we could have 80 people in the class and we're rocking for another year, right? That gives us resources to pursue a lot of options. Um, so given that things can change and the new plan may totally fail too, that's life, right? Lots of times in life, you come up with a great plan based on what you know and what you see at that moment, and it ends up being a terrible idea. But so, the old programs are still there. There's nothing that would stop me from going back and continuing doing live weekends, other than maybe it's a lot of work and I'm getting too old for that stuff. You know, teaching uh 4 to 9, 10 hours a day, several days in a row is an enormous strain on the body and the mind. So uh moving forward, the most important thing that I want to do announce to you guys is right now, the August level one is the last one we plan to do in that format. I might change my mind, but certainly for 2024, and I have no plan to bring it back beyond that right now. So if you would like to attend or assist or refer anyone, now's the time, right? This will be it. Please don't wait any longer. Don't procrastinate. Um, and then the final advanced intensives will be in September. So, and again, if you know anyone that's interested, please refer them. We'll every person helps the community grow. We need to bring in new people, not just for the money. That's part of it, of course. It's 2024. Money is always part of everything, isn't it? But also to have enough people coming in so that we have new groups of assistance, right? You need some fresh blood in the community. New sources of referrals, new people with new other knowledge of techniques and devices and nutrition and all that good stuff, right? So for all those reasons, it's important to try to keep people coming in. So after that, what the tentative plan is that I will have kind of a separate track for the casual user and for the practitioner. And if you decide to go the practitioner track, you would do both, right? So we'll start most people in the casual track. And if they are interested in going really deep, learning to be a healer, doing all these things, the material's still there. But moving forward, instead of having the whole series of live weekend intensives, my tentative plan is we're going to do the mind spa some number of times a year. Based on the surveys I got, it seemed that a couple things. One was the 4-hour session was the clear winner over the 8-hour session, even at the same price, which I thought was interesting. It was like 92%, right? So the next one, we're going to be shortening to 4 hours. It'll just be half a day. And I'm going to be alternating between weekdays and weekends, because we saw in the surveys about half of you guys wanted something on the afternoon on a weekday. The other half wanted something on a weekend. So why not do a little of both, right? And I really like that because things on weekdays are easier for me to schedule. There's only so many weekends I have a year for everything, right? So it's much easier for me to do them more often that way. If it doesn't eat up a weekend every time. So I'm thinking at least 6 times a year, maybe 8. We'll see how it goes. And that's designed again to be a 4-hour immersion in energy work. I do a little talking at the beginning, and then mostly it's beaming and movement groups, and a little bit of feedback and sharing. So it's really focused on what we call the Carl Wolf stuff, and not a lot of training required. In order to gain time back on that, those of you that have been to the past mind spas know we spent about the first hour 15 in training. I'm just going to take that recording and put it up for people, because that way the 4 hours we spend together will be almost entirely hands-on interactive. Make sense? And I totally get a lot of people won't watch it, no matter how important it is, right? That's why I say I'll do like a 10-minute version when we start the live session. So, one of the things I saw, again, in the surveys was people wanted things that are more affordable. And it was the large majority were willing to give up the live experience to get that. So that's why we're putting these sort of informational content on recordings. And then, during the live sessions, it's 90% plus interactive hands-on. Make sense? Something I've always wanted to do for a long time because it makes sense given the technology. We'll see if it works. And so the Mind Spa would be sort of the intro weekend, designed to take again and again, right? You get more clearing every time you go, a little higher consciousness every time you go. Those that are more serious, there would be a weekend live version that would be, right now the tentative name is the Weekend at the Mind Spa. I hope you guys can come up with something better, but that's the tentative name. And that would be effectively a version of level 4, the old level 4. The difference would be we would take a lot of the awakening and lecture content and put that in recordings. So it would be, deep immersion and movement and beaming, a little bit of open focus. So that would be the one that's most similar to what we have now. Because you guys have been through the programs, know you'll hear me say over and over, level 4, you got to do live. You're not going to get the benefits watching a recording. It's not about knowledge and information. It's about the experience of the process. So that we kind of have to preserve as a live event. And that would lead to the Awakening Intensive. And I think that'll work because pretty much the Awakening Intensive has been almost entirely focused on the Carl work. Wasn't my original vision, but that's what it's become. That's what people like. So I'm totally cool with it. It simplifies things, right? The other track would be the practitioner track. And quite simply, I'm going to be selling the recordings of we created some evergreen versions several years ago, meaning we cut out the Q&A and the breaks and blah, 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 right? And I would be selling those as recordings. And everyone that bought the level 1 recording would get time in the VIP club. And if you want to do the processes or the exercises or ask questions, there we are. We're there 2, sometimes 3 times a week. So that kind of, I'm doing my best to address the concerns people had, which is by selling the recordings, I can lower the price. It's a lot easier on delivery, right? I don't have to spend a ton of time teaching and organizing classes and burning up my voice and recruiting assistants and a million other things, right? Sending emails, managing rosters, certificates, yada, yada. And maybe some private session time at the advanced levels, but old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, therefore would be mostly recordings for people that want to learn it and go deep. And, they can bring questions to any of the events, right? VIP club, Mind Spa, et cetera, et cetera. I'm doing a little bit of marketing now. I don't know if Reese is here. He's a guy I hired recently to help me with the marketing. And is kind of one last push at promoting the level 1 and the Mind Spa through the 5-minute healings. If that doesn't work out really well, then probably what I'm going to shift to is what they call the inverted funnel, which basically means, I don't want to get too much into the marketing to speak, but just the 30-second version is a traditional funnel is you have like, media, whatever, ads, and you get a lot of people into a free event, and then a smaller number of them buy a low price event, and some of them buy your high priced event. So that's like the traditional funnel. The inverted funnel is what many healers and life coaches do. It seems to be a better business model, easier to build a practice and make money. Is instead of the expense of media and ads and all that and running group events, that you have people sign up directly for what's called a strategy session or a discovery call, and basically understand where they want to get to, and put together a plan of action. And if they're interested, they go for it. If they don't, okay, on to the next person. And so I'm going to be building a version of that. So there's a little piece at the end that, for you guys who want to follow up, you could certainly help there. And at some point, I'm going to have to put in screening. But as of right now, I'm doing them all myself. And I'm not doing a lot of screening. And I have pretty flexible schedule-wise. So that's a part of the plan. And so YouTube channel. I still have a series of videos I'm going to start releasing the next week or two on executive presence. I'm going to be slowing down on it. I don't want to abandon it because I think it's a great channel. I think there's a lot of good content there, but nobody's watching it. So, I just can only spend so much time and money supporting something that's not giving anything back. And so I'm going to focus a little more on Facebook and Instagram. I've been setting up a couple groups on Facebook to be a little more engaged with that way. And, going to start doing more with Instagram. That'll be my next social media push, right? On my, like every entrepreneur, I got a really big to-do list that's much longer than I ever could have time for, but that's life, right? So, run the inverted funnel. And so, yeah, basically, do we give up a lot in the new system? Of course we do. The community of the intensives, the ability to ask questions, to have a whole day to just focus on this one thing. But what we get back is we lower the price point. And again, I don't want to sound dismissive, but I get really sick of hearing everyone whine about money, right? Given how much things cost, spending, $600 to get a life-changing training and personal time with me and practice groups and a bunch of bonus materials. It's like, seriously? But, that's what I've heard. So, I'm going to lower the price point significantly, I think to $297. And you get that in maybe 30, 60 days in the VIP club. And, we'll see. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then it's back to the drawing board. We'll have another one of these in 3 or 6 months, right? And so, moving forward, I intend to keep everything running in the VIP club, practice groups, as far as I know, Ton is still rocking with the Wealth Club, et cetera, et cetera. You guys will see me there on Monday. You'll see John on Tuesday. And the Awakening Intensive too. It's just the way we get people there will change a little bit over time. And so that's getting close to the end of what I had to say. So I wanted to finish with a couple things that you guys could all do if you want to help out, contribute to the community, and then I'll take questions, and that'll be that. So one is just like a local restaurant, if people don't eat there, it goes out of business. So, if you guys want to do sessions or, want to contribute to the community, please, right? Reach out. I got all sorts of great material. Got lots of cool stuff coming up. And, the big shift again is the new live events are going to be designed to be something that's repeatable. So it's not the same thing every time. To create a community that way, right? It's nice to see a group of people for 3 days or, 6 days across 2 weekends, and that's cool. But isn't it better if you see them like for 2 days, like 3 or 4 times a year? I would think so, over time. So I'm hoping that'll help to build the community. Anyone that wants to refer for level 1, it's always encouraged and welcomed. It's just this is it for the live version. No plan to do one again. So I'm going to be doing right now at minimum 1 webinar. Depending on how it goes, I might do a one last heal-a-thon before we give it up forever. But the 5-minute healings next Wednesday, July 31st, that's the last planned promotional event for the last level 1. So if you guys know anyone, and that's why I wanted to do this, I looked at the calendar and said, crap, we got to do this week. So here we are. And so you got 1 week to go talk to people. So please don't wait. And you don't have to sell them on anything. Just get them on to the live webinar. And if they resonate, awesome. We'll build the community and you'll get compensation for the referral. Moving forward, I did want to put out there that if any of you or anyone has serious interest in going deep into this work, right? Meaning like, getting a package that would be a bunch of privates with me, the level 1 to 5 trainings live or recorded in some combination, a year of mind spas leading into the Awakening Intensive. What I'm offering is right now, you can literally just go to my website and click to book time. And, it's a 45-minute discovery call. And on the call, I just want to know a little about you and where you are, where you want to be. My job is to be the lighthouse to help guide you there. And I'm not a good fit for everyone, but I think we have some really cool tools and techniques and groups, right? I would imagine most or all of you here have seen some kind of shift or change in your life from the work. Otherwise, you probably would have left a long time ago. So, so I'm happy to do those at no charge. I would just ask, and it's okay if people have a small budget. I don't mind that. Just not no budget. Is that fair? If someone comes to me and says, Brent, my budget is $600 a year or $50 a month, that sucks, but I'll meet with you, right? I'll say, hey, if I was you, if I only had $50 a month, this is what I would do. So that's cool. Just somebody that has at least, serious interest and is willing to spend a little time and money. I'm happy to meet with them. And if you guys have only done a little bit with me and you want to go a lot deeper, you're welcome to book one too. I'll just say, if you've done 1 to 5, if you're in the Awakening Intensive, if you've done a bunch of privates with me, you don't need the discovery call, right? You already have all that. There's no need to talk to me about something you already own. Cool. So, it's just, I don't want you guys to think it's a new thing. No, it's the same stuff you guys have done, just repackaged. Cool. You're not missing anything. Unless, there might be a couple of people here that did 1 or 2 sessions or, got one program up KPFK. If that's you, you want to go deeper, awesome. Cool. Cool. And the last thing is anybody that wants to help the community, one of the ways that would be really useful is to help coordinate either some kind of campaigns for traditional media, meaning big podcast radio shows like Coast to Coast, right? To get me on Gaia or something like that. Someone to help coordinate, that would be super useful. And then we can use my email list and so on, to help coordinate as a community. Because Ron helped with that recently. And Ron, you're not being fired. I'm just opening it up, just saying, hey, if someone wants to help. And I got a couple podcasts, nothing that moved the needle, but I think there is some potential there. And especially through social media, if you go on Twitter or Facebook, if we have 20 or 50 people over a couple days saying, hey, you guys should talk to Brent, they probably will. Makes sense, right? But so anyone that wants to help coordinate that would be awesome. And, if you guys have any contacts, because one of the things about business in this world is it's really tough to walk in the front door, right? Most of the good jobs are not advertised. They're not listed online. It's someone that needs someone with a certain skill set and, they know of a friend, but you have some connection. And so if any of you guys have a connection to Coast or the Aware Show or Gaia or anything like that, let's talk, book some time. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Yeah, absolutely, Kathy. And that's about all I have to say. Wanted to turn over the floor to you guys. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If anyone, has suggestions, I'm open to your suggestions. What I will promise you is I promise I will listen and give it serious consideration. I can't promise I'm going to take action on every suggestion you give me, right? There's just not enough of me, no matter how good your ideas are. And yeah, I like Phyllis's comment. I'd like to think that this is just, leaving as the vehicle. Brent has his mind and ego and his idea of how things were supposed to go, and sometimes it doesn't go that way. So we got to trust that divine mind that, what Carl Wolf would say is sometimes life makes you take 2 steps back before you take 3 forward. Or another version he would say is when life seems to take you away from your path, because that seems to happen a lot, doesn't it? When life seems to be taking you away from what you thought was your path, most of the time it leads you back to it at a better place. So most of the time it'll lead you back to it on a better place. So I will check the chat room. And, the reason I did this on Zoom was, you guys are encouraged to just unmute and share, right? There's no slideshow, nothing formal here. If you want to just ask out, share, you're welcome to. Awesome, Lynn. Would love to have you assist at level 1. Okay. Yana, why do we cut out the Q&A? The reason is this, that most people the first time through are already kind of overwhelmed. And also just looking at the time it takes, it's intimidating to people nowadays. Now, the good news is that I have recordings of all of them back to 2019 at last. I don't know if some of you were around then when I had an idiot tech that erased my entire YouTube channel. Like 1,000 hours of me and Carl, and that was, it still pisses me off. But anyhow, I have every weekend intensive back for 5 years recorded. So, if someone wouldn't mind volunteering to cut through and pull out the Q&A, if you guys know how to do that with AI software, I think that would be a great resource to have, like in the VIP club. It's like, hey guys, you've been through the 1 to 5 training. Here's like 6 hours of Q&A on it. It's just, again, as an entrepreneur, there's only so many things I can do. And I tend to, like most entrepreneurs, small business owners, I tend to try to do more than I really should. That makes sense? We all get a little ambitious. We really want to make a difference and reach people and, of course, grow the business, make money, provide financial security, all these things. They all go together. So, I just have to be able to put boundaries and go, hey, I know that's too much for Brent. And honestly, it might be that the way I've taught the intensives, this is, my subconscious shifting me away because it was taking too high a toll. That, when I was 33, it was one thing. At 53, it's different. Not making excuses, right? I don't care how well you eat, how much you meditate, you take the right supplements, there are changes that come with age. We can ameliorate them for sure. Haven't actually seen anyone age backwards over a long term, right? We can certainly reverse premature aging. But it might just be it was so hard on me, my body, my family, that this is, what you might call a quote sabotage to force me to change it. Because yeah, the last few years I just felt like hell. My voice would be hoarse. I'd have a headache for 2 days. Just because I put so much into it, right? I give 100% all day, every day when I do them. And that's exactly what got me in trouble with software too. I didn't cripple myself with overwork because I'm lazy and mellow, right? I'm obsessive and driven and passionate. So, okay. So, but yeah, and obviously that's a big manual job to cut up videos, but if you guys don't mind volunteering, I got all sorts of things you could do, right? Even better, if there's some way to do it with AI, awesome, you know, awesome. Okay. And Lynn asked about assisting. Yeah, Lynn, one of the things is the reason we've had problems with email was my assistant Tuhin, who's been with me for almost 10 years now. He's handled all of my mailings since like 2016. And this is not something I don't want to get into the news of the politics, but let's just say for reasons he could not control, he lost all of his internet. The whole country did for over a week. So he's back online now. So I'll be sending out anyone that wants to assist it into the upcoming, either level 1 in August or the advanced in September, just shoot us an email to support@awakeningdynamics.com. And it's pretty easy. We'll get in touch. We'll send you all the class materials. For the most part, you just have to show up and be willing to help. It's a pretty easy gig. So just shoot us an email and we'll get you. And for anyone, let me get, if you guys want the link, I'll give you the link to book a discovery call. But again, most of you don't need it. Most of you have done all this stuff already, right? It's like, driving up to the Tesla dealer in a Tesla and going, ooh, I want to test drive a Tesla. I've never driven one before. It's like, no, yes, you have one, right? You don't need to come here. But if you guys want to go deeper, or, maybe you bailed out after level 1, you want to go deeper. Maybe you bailed out after level 4, you want to join the AI, happy to talk to you. Or anyone that has serious interest, right? Whatever their budget. I don't care if it's small. I'm happy to meet with someone with a small budget as long as they want to move forward. That's all. Let me get it for you guys. And what I will offer is for the discovery calls for anyone that books packages. If you make the referral, I'm going to give you 10% of everything for the first year. Because from what I understand, that's pretty standard practice in the consulting industry. So, if you guys refer your cousin and they buy a, $5,000 package, well, you get $500, you know. Or, as I've always done, if you just want to take it off their price, I can do that too. Totally up to you. Either way is cool. So 10% of everything for a year, private sessions, classes, anything they do. So let me give you the link. So if anyone wants to take advantage, or, I'm guessing this will be more of a referral thing. That you can also get that link just off my website. Just click on private sessions and then, discover a call. Boom, pretty easy. And the other link I wanted to give to you guys was for the level 1. So give me 1 second to pull that up. There we go. All right. So for anyone, if you know someone that's just going to sign up, give them this link. If you know of anyone that wants to learn more before they make a decision, send them to the 5-minute healings, right? That's what it's for. I am doing a small ad campaign to promote that webinar, trying out my new marketing guy. Reese, let us know if you're here. He said he would be, maybe he's not. Just introduce you to the community. Oh, Lynn, awesome. You like to cut up videos. Sweet. So I'll just offer Lynn, is there anything you would think would be really valuable to be pulling out to cutting up? I think the Q&As would be worthwhile. I think pulling all the movement sessions out of the level 4s would be worthwhile. It's just all the information's there. We're just organizing it, making it more accessible this way, right? Well, one of the things I started to build when I was working with Nick, and I should have known better than to work with a millennial, kind of flaky, right? He was great for 3 months and then kind of went off his own way. And I say that with love, right? I love millennials. You're all people, not your fault you were born when you did, right? And I'll take millennials any day over Gen Alphas. I mean, whoa, toilet memes and iPad kids, that's weird stuff, right? At least to this old guy. But anyhow, yeah, we older people are going to have to stick together against these younger generations, And again, said with love. But I did one of the projects we worked on a little bit was building a movement library that was going to be primarily for the Awakening Intensive or in gold level VIP, where, and we have a little bit of it done, but to go through, we have how many hours, probably ballpark 30, 40, 50 hours of movement recorded with feedback, and just cut out each one and go, okay, keywords, these are the energies that are in this one, right? This one is shaking it off and nothing behind me and getting it wrong. This one is, confused and on where I'm going or frantic. So if you guys want to volunteer there's a lot of cool things we could do. It's just a lot of work, right? Because it just takes a lot of time, I also, one of my many projects that I completed, I took all the DVDs from the intensive life training I did with Carl Wolf and put them up on Vimeo, ripped them from DVD, and they're all on Vimeo now. So that's something that I'm sharing with members of the Awakening Intensive, because that was actually my agreement with Carl. He said, Brent, any of this stuff you can share with that group. That was, and had I known he was going to die, I would have wanted a lot more detail on it, but that's life, right? So, and it, like his unpublished articles, the sessions of my intensive, so I'm trying to create more of the more, I'm not sure what the name would be, knowledge base, a library that's more easily searchable, right? All right. So yeah, anyone that, if you guys want to help at level 1 or the advanced, just shoot an email to support. Hint is back online as of about 6 hours ago. So thank God. It's one of those things. Can I figure out how to send emails? Of course I can. But when you haven't done it in so long, there's just a lot of things you got to relearn, right? It's one of those things. There's a lot of mistakes that are easy to make. you know, and there's a certain skill to coming up with your process that gets it right. Like I remember when I was an undergrad, one of the things that amazed me was when I did the hardware 6004, the hardware lab class, where you actually build circuit boards and things. I remember I'd spend hours and just get one little piece working. And I'd come back to my dorm room and I would just turn my stereo on and off, just amazed that it worked every time. It was such an incredible thing, right? We just expect it. But no, when you build it, it's like, oh my God, this is so hard, right? So if you guys have questions, happy to answer. If you have suggestions, I'm happy to listen. If you want to book some one-on-one time, if you think you have valuable ideas that, weren't 45 minutes of one-on-one, all right, go for it. If not, we'll wrap it up. Oh, I heard there's some other guy who I don't think any of us really pay much attention to, who's doing some live TV thing at the same time as this. Thank you for coming to mine. All I got to say is I scheduled my thing first, thank you. And I didn't want to change it with like 4 hours notice.
So you are not considering doing like a few weeks with recordings and like weekly meeting for Q&A and practice?
Well, that is kind of what we're doing, because what happens at the practice groups is, and this will only make sense if you've been to the practice groups, but one of the things that was really different about the online group versus the in-person, that when I did them with Terry as a student and when I did the in-person groups in LA up to like 2009 or 10, that the teacher and any assistants were constantly busy. There was even sometimes a line of people that had questions or wanted help. So it was very interesting. One of the things I didn't expect when it went online was that for the most part, people go off into pairs and are totally self-sufficient. It's like, that was interesting, right? Because again, when we did it in person, there was always a line of people waiting for help from the teacher. And so on the Mondays, I have a lot of time sitting there when I'm not answering questions from people. And that seemed like a great time to offer to people that want to come in with questions. They want to do the exercises. Hey, I'm there on Monday. John's there on Tuesday. Are there upsides, downsides? Of course. But given I wanted to make it more affordable and more flexible and easier, this was the best idea I came up with. Not to say there's not a better one.
Okay, I've been to a few practice groups of yours, and there is a difference between coming to a practice group, which is and coming to a session, live session, or
right when everyone else is practicing, I'll be answering questions
for a particular unit of the course.
I know. I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay.
That when people are off in the groups practicing, I'm there in the main room facilitating and answering questions for the new people, instead of me sitting there in the main room waiting, hoping someone has a question. So I'm not forcing people into the groups. In fact, I would probably advertise for them on Monday. Practice group starts at 5:30. We have a 15-minute lecture. And then at 5:45, we break into groups, and you can either go in a breakout room or stay in the main room with me. Take your pick. And then we cover whatever people want to cover. They have questions about digging, I'll answer questions on digging. They have questions about, the intuitive reading. If they want to practice it, great. I'm already there. Makes sense, I think. And, if any of you guys have ideas or can find places to drive enough traffic to rebuild the old classes, I would love that. I've just been trying for 2 years, and this is, as they would say, that this is not an up and a down. This is a fundamental change in the industry. Just like, hey, Race, the people that sell horse and buggies, there were lots of ups and downs in their industry in the 19th century, right? I'm sure there were. But come the advent of the car, that's a fundamental change, right? The world just doesn't need so many people that sell in Dane horses and buggies when there's cars. So, it's maybe not, it may not be that big, but it's, really feels like a fundamental change. Because again, it's not just me. It's a lot of people in this industry who do similar things. Body workers, wellness clinics are suffering. I know of 3 here in Las Vegas, and none of them is doing well. 3 years ago, it's just the opposite. They were kicking butt. Busy, people come in and out, hiring new people. It was cool. Okay. Question: what practice group to recommend? For everyone, everyone is welcome at both practice groups. There's no formal requirements. The difference is my group is geared to be a little more advanced, and John's group is geared to be a little more beginner. But don't sweat that. You're welcome to come to one or both. If you have the availability, if you could do either Monday or Tuesday, I would say do both. If you don't have that much availability, if you're, if you still have a lot of questions about digging and are a little intimidated about doing it free form without support, Tuesday might be a little better fit, a little more beginner friendly. And, if you've been doing it for a while, pretty self-sufficient, just want to ask questions and learn new things. That's why I started doing that tips for energy healing. That's, every week I'm trying to come up with one little tip beyond the, 1 and 2 material. Just looking at, hey, when I work day to day, what is this big volume of little things I know and do that I don't even think about, right? So come Monday, but you guys are welcome to do either or both. Don't sweat that. And yes, the tip for energy healing, I have been recording, and they're on the YouTube channel. Again, trying to build a little library, right? And yes, the practice groups are part of the VIP club. The options are $97 a month silver, gives you access to all the practice groups, unlimited, as well as I think 1 masterclass or 2 masterclasses a week, plus the wealth club and all the other archives of old calls. You get all that. Or gold level is basically silver, but a year at a time. So it's $997. It's $97 a month or $997 a year. So, if you want to stay for the year, do the year, save yourself some money, right? If you're not sure, do the monthly. Pretty simple. The bronze does not at 37, but come on, people, you're getting like 12 practice groups a month, right? I was paying $35 to $100 per practice group over 20 years ago. So for me to do as many practice groups as we offer for silver with Terry, that would have been roughly $420 a month in $2003. So I think it's a crazy value. That's all I'm saying. You get a lot of us. You don't have to do all of it. And yeah, I'd love to grow the community more. I do want part of my design with the new program is I would like to get more of the people going through the training into the practice groups. Because what I found is when I took this training from Terry 20 years ago, there's no way I could have built my skill without the practice groups. How many of you actually practice this on your own, have that discipline? Maybe some of you do, at least for a while, right? Good for you. But without someone to answer questions, people to practice with, there's no way I could have gotten to a professional level. So, that's why I tell everyone, you guys listen because you're here. I tell everyone that comes through level 1, learn a lot from being here, but there's 10 times more value available if you show up and practice and apply it, right? So I am going to be emphasizing that a little more. Because, I want to build the community. I know it's funny. I don't know if I've had discussions with a few of my friends. I don't know if it's just a natural part of aging or being a parent or something else, but for better or for worse, every year that passes, I care more and more. I care more and more that people are really benefiting and getting value. I think part of it was when I started, I was much more in my head. It wasn't that I didn't care, but I was a little more focused on, can I make enough money to survive, right? What Carl Wolf taught was just find ways to connect with the right people and give them a ton of value, and the rest will work out. So that's what I'm doing, you know.
Brent, can
Yeah.
you, like in a sentence, put the mission for the community you are?
I want to share the technology and give us a place to practice and use it, a friendly place. I see this as consciousness technology. And, as with any technology, I stand on the shoulders of giants. There's no way I could have done what I did without learning from first Terry and then Carl and Jean and a bunch of other people. Too long to list, right? But I really don't. I want to see this stuff get to people who need it and give them not only the knowledge, but the community so they can apply it and make a difference. Because I don't know if you guys have paid attention to the world lately. It's in a pretty bad place. And I'm not terribly encouraged by the prospect of governments or gigantic companies saving the world. They seem to be the ones causing the destruction, right? So, I think the way we're going to fix the world is one person at a time. It is true. Change starts on the inside. And if we can all do the inner work, I think at some point it will reflect outside.
Can I say, I have a bit of a silly comment to what you said,
Okay,
and
that's
I
fine.
appreciate what you said. And what I have not heard there was a like development direction. I mean, giving people tools, giving them opportunity to practice is very valuable, but it doesn't seem to contain a direction to
Well,
develop and grow.
that's up to you guys.
I was wondering if you had that.
Are there things I'm working on? Yes. And in fact, I think the whole new casual user system is development and growing. It's a simplification, but sometimes that's the way you grow. That, I'm hoping to reach a larger audience because not everyone wants to learn a ton of stuff. Not everyone is willing. If you want to be really good at digging, it'll take, maybe 20 hours of training and maybe 100 hours of practice. Not everyone's willing to put that in. So, will there be developments in terms of things that are taught? Sure. But, that's why I say I want to bring new people in. I'm learning things all the time. I had a great session. I'm always skeptical about these things because everyone promises you the moon, right? But it was actually one of my students. She has a teenage son with autism and came up with a nutritional protocol that is designed to specifically address two genetic defects that are commonly associated with autism. And, I can say in just the first week, I say, wow, oh my God, I actually feel really different. Much more so than any nutritional thing I've ever done. So that might turn into something. We've started doing residential intensive the last year. That had never happened before. Getting Carl stuff online so we can share it more easily. We're learning and growing, but it is a slow pace because that's just life, right? And I'm hoping you guys and the new people coming into the community will drive all that. Why? I don't have 20 years to go be a nutritionist and learn what this woman could and learn how to do what she did and and replicate that. No, that's why I say I'm not saying it's all on your burden, but it's the community that's what's going to drive it. Innovation is almost never driven by one person. That a lot of innovation is you learn the tools from me or whoever, you learn and apply them and evolve them and use them in new and creative ways, and it leads to the next thing. Awesome. That's what the community is for. The residential intensive is when people come here to Las Vegas, usually 3 or 4 days, and we do a lot of the Carl stuff, skating, video feedback, dancing, spinning, the things that are very difficult to do in the online format. So we did two We did one last December, one in April, and we're doing another one first weekend in August. And I'm happy to say it's full. So if you guys didn't sign up, it's full. I have to wait for the next one. Probably November is the plan. And generally, I offer that to the Awakening Intensive, and sometimes others with who I know are ready for it. But for the most part, the way you get there is being part of the Awakening Intensive. I can sometimes make exceptions, but I would say at minimum level 4 and have been practicing and using what you're doing. Right, the residential intensive is not for beginners. It's for the most advanced people. Could I do one for beginners in the future? Yeah, but again, there has to be a market for it. I have to know how to access that market, and there's always an opportunity cost. As a small business person, there's so many things you could do. You can only do a couple, right? The opportunity cost is all the things you can't do. So, other questions? And yes, so if you guys want to pressure someone, pressure Reese to do a kick-ass job with the ad campaigns. Because if we can actually bring in people and turn even a small profit, that would change things a lot. That might open the door to me bringing back more live intensives next year. But we got to be flexible, right? We got to try different things, see what happens. Quite simply, we need to figure out where the audience is and what they want and offer it to them. You find the right person, you give them something packed with value at a competitive price. If they can afford it, they'll say yes. Sheila's asking, we're in discussions right now about that. I want to make it more widely available, but it's still very much research, right? Can't say it's a proven system. We can say it helped her son and it's helped me. So promising so far, but two test subjects does not make a good experiment. So promising for sure. Mature and ready to mass produce and crank out there? No. But maybe soon, maybe in a month or two. We can talk offline. Email me about it, or next time we have a session, I can tell you more. But yeah, interesting stuff. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer. If not, you're welcome to go back to that old guy going on and on about whatever. It's fine. If not, thank you all for attending, and thank you for being part of the community.
Brent, I have a question. So
Yep.
Jan, she had a lot of questions,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering kind of what she is envisioning Awakening Dynamics to have that it doesn't have yet.
Well,
Because
I would say it's tough to put someone on the spot like that. Yana, if you have an overview of what you think should look like, what I would offer is for anyone, if you have a vision, I'm a big fan of the one-page proposal, write up at most one page. And if it resonates with me, we'll follow up and talk. Is that cool? So that's for everyone, including Yana. And what I found is, nothing against you guys. Most people, it's like, oh, that's too much work. So that's your filter, right? Yeah. But if you're serious enough, your ideas, and you really want to do this, write up at most a one-page proposal. And if it's cool, we'll talk.
I think
Now,
it could be not a proposal, but maybe a group like brainstorm or
sure.
creative
If you want to organize
endeavor.
one, go for it. Yeah. Reese,
Because
we've had a couple of questions. If you don't mind putting either, I don't know what kids use today, email or your Twitter handle or Discord server. I mean, how do we get in touch with you? He does internet marketing. He's setting up the new funnel. So if you guys looking for someone to help you with internet marketing, need a man.
Yeah, 100%. I'll just quickly touch through. So I've just added my email into the chat at the moment. If you'd like to get a hold of me whatsoever for anything, any queries or anything like that, just chuck me an email and I'll actually get back to you in the first 24 hours. And yeah, it'd be lovely working with you guys. It's great to be a part of the community as well.
Yeah, I would say if you guys want on Monday's practice group, when others are in the breakout rooms, I'm happy to have a discussion in the main room. Or not, if you guys wanted to discuss it without me, I'm happy to go watch TV, come back at the end. However, whatever you want, I'm flexible. That way we don't have to send emails and find a time and coordinate. It's like, hey, if you want to chat with me while people are in rooms, great. I'm there every Monday. Just show up. Tell your friends. Happy to do it. I don't share the Vimeo link for Carl's stuff because I want to, for right now, I'm only playing it during awakening intensive sessions. And the reason is I want to be very careful about the privacy of the other 6 students of the intensive. So I'm not planning on making that widely available. I'd like to at some point, again, another video editing project, have me and someone I trust who knows how to handle privacy, right? To go through and cut out all the sensitive parts. So we would have kind of 2 versions. One would be mostly just Carl talking and the more generic stuff. And we would cut out the shares from the students because I think it's important to protect the privacy of the other people involved, especially if they're still living. I don't have a problem with giving you Carl's lectures in the AI as a recording. It's just, there's a lot of work to do to get to that point, right? There's too much personal sharing on those videos that I'm comfortable putting out there without me watching it. Because right now, if I play it in the AI session, if it gets too personal, I just hit pause and skip over it, right? Right. So I'm very protective of their privacy. That's why I'm not just putting it out there. But hey, if one of the AI members really wants to go through, oh God, it's got to be on the order of 100 hours of video, maybe 100 and maybe 120, 130. That would be cool. It's just, it might take you a year or 2. Yeah, and I don't think AI is good enough quite yet. Can you, is there a video tool you can say, cut out just the scenes of when Carl and Brent are talking and get rid of everyone else? If there's a way to do that, great. Start the job on a computer, let it run for 6 months, right? And there you go. I got a lot of computers. That's one thing I'm abundant in. I'm abundant in guitars, cats, and computers. And I suppose along with cats, we're abundant in cat fur, right? And cat poop, right? So all the things that come from cats. Yeah, if you guys either want to do it or are volunteering to pay someone to do it, let's talk. But again, limited resources, right? It's like when I had my game, everyone had ideas for the game. And they'd be like, Brent, you have to add this idea to the game. It's such a good idea. And most of the time, they'd be like, yeah, that's a really good idea. But we got like 80 good ideas just in this last week. And we have 3 coders. And most of our time is already booked doing other things, right? We only have like a couple hours a week for all this stuff. Of those 80 good ideas, maybe 1 gets into the game. Same thing here. Nothing personal, just how it is, right? Every good idea may not get implemented. Why? We're looking for the best ideas. What they taught at MIT was most ideas are bad, some ideas are good, a few are great. Only spend resources on the great ideas. And that can be hard. Especially if you have a whole bunch of good ideas in front of you. It's like, okay, which is the great one? Only spend resources on the great ideas. Any other questions? Happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. We'll get the recording up online. And, I'm going to be doing some form of this more often in the future. It might be a Facebook Live as part of my sort of Facebook thing. That's probably what I'm going to do. Maybe once a month. And if things get rolling, if people like it, it could even turn to a semi-weekly or a weekly event. Not going to do bi-weekly. Does anyone even know what the difference between bi-weekly and semi-weekly is? Yeah. Thank you, Kathy. You're a nerd like me. I appreciate that. Bi-weekly is twice a week. Semi-weekly is every other week. But many people use it improperly. So it's one of the downsides to being a nerd. Yeah, not everyone knows as much as you. Yes. Only spend scarce resources on the great ideas. Because there's never enough resources to implement the good ideas. There's just too many of them. You know? It's like dating. Are you going to date the people that you like somewhat? Or you're going to save your time for the ones you really, really like? Right. Scott recommends fortnightly. Does that mean that would be the same as semi-weekly, I believe, semantically? Or maybe he's suggesting we have the meetings in Fortnite. It's a popular game. But yeah. Yeah, evidently, my son, he goes, Dad, I don't like to check email. You can contact me on my Discord server. Oh, thank you, Phyllis. My junior high English teacher, Mrs. Nichols, would argue. But I'm still carrying the torch of her teaching. She was a great English teacher. She was one of those teachers that everyone hated the first few weeks of the year because she was so strict. But after you spent a whole year with her, you saw how much you learned. You're like, you know what? You're pretty cool. All right, awesome. And so again, if you guys have anyone to refer, at least one more level 1, get them to 5-minute healings. If you know anyone that might be seriously interested in a package, have them book some time. Otherwise, me and Reese and Tuhin are going to be working really hard to build up the new funnels and, build up the mind spa to the day at the mind spa to the weekend to the AI pipeline, and then probably promote the practitioner trainings as evergreen recordings through some kind of ever webinar funnel. But I don't know. We'll see where we go. How did I fund Reese? Generally credit card and PayPal. I mean, that's usually how people pay online. I don't do Venmo only because my bank does not support Venmo for business accounts. So.
Brent asked, how did you find Reese?
Oh, how did I find him? Upwork.
Yeah.
Yep. Upwork. Next 5-minute healings is next Wednesday. And if you guys ever forget that, just go to awakeningdynamics.com. I know it's really old fashioned, but websites are cool. Companies put up information on upcoming events and it's all right there. You can look at any time. Or you can spend 6 hours searching through their Twitter feed, amongst all this vile content that you don't ever want your kids to see. But that's just me. Yeah, if you guys want to lead, what I'll do is Sheila, you want to lead us in sending love to the whole community?
Yes,
All right.
and to your business and to everyone who's here and not here. Yes, let's do that, everyone.
All right.
So go ahead and prepare, and think your witness to the entire AD community, everyone who's here and not here, and to the Awakening Dynamics business itself. And I don't have a timer. Does someone have a timer?
Huh. Just go by your gut.
Okay. And we'll go ahead and send support, unconditional love to everyone. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Go ahead and think to yourself, finish. Showering yourself off. And you can, even though it's also in the finish, you can do the break and zip your field.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll hopefully see you next week for 5-minute healings. Until then, good night. Take care. Namaste. Till next time.